Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a brand new movie review. And today I'm going to be talking about Cocaine Bear, which is now out at cinemas around the world. Of course, inspired by the real life story of the Cocaine Bear. If you didn't get it by the title, it is a bear that ate a lot of cocaine. There's nothing more to say in regards to that. And as always, like any reviews, I want to hear from everybody. So please do comment below with your thoughts on Cocaine Bear. If you've seen it at the cinema, if you plan on seeing it at the cinema, this is going to be really interesting seeing how different people react to a film like this. It's a very different film. It's probably the most viral B movie I've probably seen in many years, which is great for cinema, for industry, for audiences. And at the same time, I think it may lead to also some slight over expectation on what you could expect from a film about a bear that takes a lot of cocaine. But that being said, please do let me know. And if you do enjoy this video, then do check out our other ones. We've got a lot of the reviews happening at the moment, got a lot of stuff planned. So please do get involved, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully there's a lot more stuff on the way. Not any of Cocaine Bear videos, though. Maybe there'll be a sequel. I don't know. Let me know what you want to see. If there were to be a second animal on drugs film, let me know what that would be, and we'll see if we can get Elizabeth Banks to direct another one. I know there's been comments about a shark one in the past. I don't know the origin of how that's come to be, but either way, I want to hear it from everybody at home. But if I'm gonna give my thoughts on this for this review, it's really tricky to review a film like this just because I know what I was expecting the moment I walked in it, and kind of heading into this. I remember when this film was announced, like many others, you scoured the internet and think, "Is this real? Like, did this happen in real life?" Obviously, the real life story is out there that you know the plane was overfilled, so they were getting rid of loads of weight. The cocaine went off, and then a bear stumbled across it, ate it, and its body was found. I think a few weeks or a few months after. And obviously, the rest of this film, it's a comedy. I don't think it's horror, but some people might think it's going to be horror. It obviously plays off that what happened and creates a story inside of that, which I actually think is a really fun way to do it. There's no other way to do it. This isn't a film that needs to be taken seriously. This is a perfect Friday night, hour and a half. It's late at night. Can I fit a film on in time? It is one of those kinds of films we just don't get anymore. And the most insane thing is we're going to get another one in 2 weeks' time when we get 65, another hour and a half long film. But this time it's Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs. So let's hope the return of the B movie persists and that we get a lot more of it as the years come by. And certainly to get audiences at the cinemas watching these because it's definitely the best film at the cinema at the moment that's got a name of an insect or animal in its title. There's only two, but this is the one I'll be recommending. That being said, the film itself, I was surprised at the cast they were to get for this. This isn't a slate on Elizabeth Banks as director. I just didn't think who would want to be in a film called Cocaine Bear, and the cast itself. Obviously, it was when it was being announced when they were shooting it. Names just kept being added. But the one that really jumped out to me was Alden Ehrenreich when he was first cast. He hasn't done a lot of big films, of course, in Solo. We've got Ray Liotta in this as well, who sadly passed away, and this is one of his final films. O'Shea Jackson Jr., Kerry Russell, husband Matthew Rhys also making a great cameo, and a few others. And I think that was the moment I was going to take this film seriously in the sense of I want to watch this film, not take it literally seriously as a film. And I'm quite amazed that this cast has come together for this. But even in turn of that, what I absolutely love is that it's written the exact way a film about this should be written. And it's such a weird way to approach a film like this. That is that B movie concept, a concept that's so insane that it just shouldn't work. But this really does work. And I think it's full credit to everybody involved that I don't want to say no one's taking it seriously because that's going to discredit the actors and how people are directing this, but they got the tone right. And Elizabeth Banks, certainly, from what was on the script to what was on the screen, they nailed everything. Even some of the cinematography, you got the lighting, you got shots, there's building up tension, horror and whatnot. But at the same time, we know what to expect from it. They're not going to go too far over. There's nothing too exaggerated. I think this knows exactly what it's trying to do and how to achieve those. And that's why I think it's full credit around the board for everybody involved in this. Now, I'm not coming on here to say this is a masterpiece by any means. It's a film about a bear that takes cocaine, but it feels weird enough saying that. It feels weird enough reviewing it. But I just kind of want to use this review space to talk about, again, the loss of the B movie that we just don't get this anymore. Um, and I think for me, at least yesterday on a Friday night, it was a very busy cinema screening. And I didn't know how would this branch out outside of film Twitter because for those that haven't worked out yet, social media, it's a small box, And some people live in this. Some people think that the 10 people they interact with are the 10 people that dictates how the world moves, how people foresee things. And it's always amazed me the lack of insight from people moving away from social media, looking at the real world. When people say that, oh, Avatar's got no cultural impact and it's the first and third highest grossing film of all time, just because their friends don't tweet about it or have accounts dedicated to them, like they do for Marvel, like they do for Star Wars. So it's really interesting for me seeing how would a film like this transfer? Could this bomb? Could no one go and watch this film? Because that can easily happen with a film like this, by the way. But enough people were hooked on the premise, and I think the premise is simple: that it's entertaining, that people know what they're going to go in for. And I thought certainly the audience I was in, I'd say there's maybe 70, 80 people. There was a lot of laughter, and I found this film very funny. And there were even moments where you could feel people making noises, not necessarily the horror, but obviously some of the imagery, the gore, and I just think their approach to it worked wonders. The cast that were involved in this, they knew what they were doing as they went into it. I don't want to sit here and say no one was miscast. That's a really silly way to look at the scenario. We actually want to talk about a couple of the character arcs because the most surprising thing for me is that there were characters with character arcs in a film like this. And I think because there was so much attention on the bear, which also has its own character arc, by the way, which caught me off guard. If you've seen it, you'll know what I mean when you get to where it goes and who else is involved in that finale. But I love that we've got this premise. There's a lot of other smaller stories taking place. And like many great films of the past, they all meet together. They meet out of necessity. I'm not saying this is great in that scheme of things, but certainly I didn't expect to see that at all in a film like this. And maybe it shows how low my expectations were that I just wanted a film that I was entertained by for an hour and a half. And I absolutely was. But I was just a bit caught off guard at how invested I really was in the Cocaine Bear film and certainly the human characters. It's not like a slasher film where I'm expecting people to come on and go after 5, 10 minutes. You can assume that's going to happen to a lot of people, and certainly it does happen to loads. But if I really want to quickly draw a standout. Alden Ehrenreich, I mentioned at the start of this, he plays the character of Eddie. He is the son of Ray Liotta in this, and he is in mourning essentially. And his best friend to be played by Shay Jackson Jr. has kind of come to get him to come back to work to do his job. And I don't know if this is the fact that I really like Solo now that I changed my thoughts on the film. It got better with every viewing for me. I haven't seen a lot from Alden in the years that have followed, but I think he is somebody that has been massively underused by Hollywood. And I don't want to sit here and say it is because of Solo. I just think that maybe with the experience of that, what happened, other things, he just didn't get the jump he should have had. I mean, this is actually his first film. I think he did one other film, Fair Play, and this. Now we know he's going to be in Oppenheimer, which is amazing as well. If you didn't know that already, and my favorite role of his is still Hail Caesar. I absolutely love Hail Caesar as a film. I know he's been cast in Ironheart, which is an MCU thing. He was in Brave New World in the adaptation of the sci-fi book. It's really interesting to see potentially where he might go with his career now, and that if this is his return to, I don't want to say the mainstream because this isn't going to be a humongous hit. It's going to look good though. The numbers are going to be good for it, but certainly with this and Oppenheimer, I hope it's a way to get Alden back on. I don't even want to say back on track. It's really disrespectful, but I just hope that we get to see a lot more of him in films this because he is the best thing in this film for me, better than the bear. His comedy timing is perfect. His chemistry with the other actors is perfect. He's so believable, and he just has this natural charisma. And it does make me go back to Solo and think the pressure of being Han Solo and not Harrison Ford, it never got to him, but how the audience received it, how people saw it, they saw it as someone not being Han Solo. Yet in this, he is cool. He does look great. He's got great chemistry with the people around him. For a film about a cocaine bear, I was just really surprised at how much we got of him, and I want to see more from him. Now, listen, Oppenheimer's cast is stacked. Everyone's in that film. Whether it means we see him for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I really don't know. But either way, I do hope that he is in more stuff moving forward, and I think he's an absolute pleasure from this. And kind of in line with O'Shea Jackson Jr. as well, he has been amazing. A lot of the films I've seen him in. Of course, he's been in big stuff like Godzilla and Star Wars. I still go back to one of my favorite biopics, Straight Outta Compton. Obviously, he played his own dad in Ice Cube, which is sort of incredible still. Not just the fact he looks so much like him, but I thought he was amazing in the film. I think that whole film itself is just a great film that a lot of people slept on and should have had a lot more recognition than it did. Certainly one of the best musical biopics of the last 10 years. And he's been in a lot of other things. Just Mercy is another really, really good underrated one. So seeing these two together, I kind of love them, like a double act in this. I'd love to see them in more stuff with each other. It's got funny moments, and this is where I'm in turn going to praise Elizabeth Banks once more, that she knows what she's doing with this cast. You've got the source material, you've got the script, everything's coming together. You just need to sort of direct these people and get the performances out of them. And I think they did it in a really fascinating way. One thing I'd love to know is the how they shot it on set. Obviously, we know the bears CGI. Was it the old Twilight technique where there's like a ping pong ball on a stick that someone's waving it? Because I love how even they interact with this. And part of me thinks, without slandering Ant-Man too much, am I starved of good visuals? Have I had such a terrible experience in the last week that I can't escape the unfathomable awfulness of that film? And I look at something like Cocaine Bear as a drug in itself, that this is such a better release away from what I've just experienced in the past. And that's where I'm a little bit torn, because I don't want to feel like I'm overhyping this film too much. It perfectly does what it needed to do about a film about a bear on cocaine. And I don't need to drag out this review to make it longer. The only thing, which is more of a me thing than anything, I just wish that soundtrack was a bit better. I'm not talking about the compositions, but a film like this, I'd have thought would have had like a ridiculous soundtrack. I'm talking like a Guide to the Galaxy type soundtrack, not the composers, not old school music. But I would have thought they might have gone for some other stuff, other tunes. But either way, it worked. The film worked. It should never have worked. And I kind of love it that this is the type of film you'd expect to be straight to video, straight to DVD, whatever they call it these days, straight to Netflix. But it's not. This is hit a cinema release. Audiences are turning up. It's looking like it might have a decent. I mean, for a budget of 30 mil, a 20 mil opening weekend in America is good numbers. Whether that sustains into a couple of weeks, I don't know. But I really hope that this is a hit to a point. And I think this could be around. I know we've got an insane month. We've got Scream soon. We've got Creed. We've got John Wick. March is a big month. March is going to be a competitive month. And it's going to be really interesting to see what films do come out on top. And as I said, with Ant-Man coming last week, and we've got some of its opening weekend, well, its second weekend drop numbers, which is, I'd be quite worried if I was Disney, if I'm being honest, if that's going to be the way Marvel moves forward of 80% drops week to week. You never know what other films might crop up, and if more films like this emerge, if this makes the money and they want to do other things like this, it's just great for the industry to see bigger cinemas that sold out. And kind of in turn, going back to the review, I don't have masses to say. It's a film about a bear that takes cocaine, but I want to give a shout out to Ray Doster as well, who we've lost far too early, and this is one of his final roles. It's great to see him in this, and of course, there's like a memoriam section for him as well. He's got a lot of other projects in the works, so there'll be a few more performances we do get to see of him. But it is a stark reminder of what we've missed with him as an actor. So that's going to do it for my review. Bit of a different one, trickier one to talk about. Do you think I'm going to recommend this? Yes. Go see it at the cinema, see it with your friends. Hour and a half. Yes, there's a lot of adverts to go with it as well, but it's that perfect length to see a film at the cinema. And I guarantee that you will be entertained. Now, if it doesn't work for you, it's not going to work for you, and that is understandable. I understand why this one won't work for some. I certainly understand why it won't work for others. But I just think that this is definitely a get the beers out type film that you can do with your friends. Even if it drops on Blu-ray when it's at home, this will be a big hit. A lot of people are curious about this, and I think at least it delivered for me and delivers for an audience. And I hope to see that more. So that's going to do it for the review for Cocaine Bear. As I hope you've all enjoyed this review. If you've seen the film, it is an interesting one, and I do want to hear your thoughts on it. Aside from Bears on Cocaine, what else is coming up? Well, tomorrow we have the second episode of our monthly Untitled Movie Show, where we go through everything we've watched in February. That's myself, Tate, and Charlie's going to be joining us for that, so we'll be live tomorrow night. I've also got another 4K review to do. Rocky is out in 4K. Finally, Rocky's out. There's going to be 4 of them released every week for the next 4 weeks. I have them all on order. The Rocky one has come a bit early. If I watch it tonight, there'll be a review up tomorrow. And then we've got The Last of Us. It's a busy time. There's a lot of things happening. We've still got the Oscars to sort out. So loads of stuff coming your way. If you do enjoy stuff like this, of course, we'll be covering other cinema releases. We're at the Creed 3 screening on Tuesday, so we'll get a review out on Wednesday morning for that one. Mandalorian is back. Pedro Pascal's everywhere. It's a great time to be a fan of film and TV. So do join us. Stick around. We'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy this and this cinema experience. See you then.